I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Now, before you jump into this episode, if this conversation resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with whoever you feel that needs to hear it. Together, your support helps us sustain this work, bringing transformational wisdom into the world and nurturing the awakening of our shared foundation, Mother Earth. Thank you very much. Welcome, Siri, the intuitive artist, to this Divine Design podcast.
Thank you. Nice to be back with you.
Yes, and it is just a couple of months since we kind of connected for the first time, but we are kind of soul sisters already.
Oh yes, we have been for a long time without knowing it in the real life, so yeah.
Yeah, and both of us live in the northern part of Norway, even though I think it is 10 hours for me to drive to your place, is it?
Yes, I think something like that. Yeah. We drove past there in 1998, and yeah, I think half of Norway is still left when I reach your point. So that's how large Norway is.
Norway is very large. So even though we live in the northern part is so long, very long. So we haven't met physically, but we will do in a month approximately.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
So what's the plan today, Ann-Peggy? Please tell me.
Yeah, I just was at the mountain. I go to mountain almost every day, and I just have to say one thing. It is minus 30 degrees, so it is so cold. So it's like my clothes became icy, so it's like but it's so beautiful, and the sky is pink and purple, and actually I will put some of the photos I took in the end of this podcast, because it's so much beauty.
Yeah.
And then I went into what will be the theme for our conversation, because I just came here and take off my icy clothes. And then it showed me, birthing the new. You are a mother of 5 children, almost adult. I am a mother of 5 adult children. My youngest is 20 now, this 8th of January. How old is your youngest child?
He turned 16 in November, so they're pretty much the same age, I feel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So both of us have delivered 5 children. I have been pregnant more than 5 times. And I just want to add, I have for 15 years, I have said, I love birthing children, and I do. And it's like, I'm a birth machine. Every time I was pregnant, I was kind of, the energy that flowed through me, it was like, ecstatic. I loved it so much. It was like, wow, it's a baby inside. And I became the burst version of me, even though I have had a hard life sometimes. But I love birthing. And even I said to my friend, my closest friend, when 20 years ago, she couldn't have a child. They have trouble. They had tried for 10 years. And I said, of course, I can birth your child. So I was like, and I thought about it when I went this hiking. It's like, yeah, I can birth, really today I can birth someone's child, because then I would birth a Homo Luminous. But then it had to be a sperm that is Homo Luminous. But birthing, I don't know, but I am a birth machine. And I have actually birthed something this weekend. I had a ceremony, a full moon ceremony, and I birthed a new book, the Architecture of Future Medicine. And it's like, wow. And the last full moon, I birthed the architect of the new cosmology, the light cosmology. So to birth is another way than forcing things into being, because I have written the Health Bible. And that was the old way of doing it. So it is something with a new way of doing things that we birthed it through us. It's kind of easy, and we do it with ease and pleasure, and it's like loving it. So what are your thoughts when I speak about this?
We're so similar. I couldn't be a surrogate mother like you're describing, but I'm giving birth to a lot of artworks, including my children. And the energy of being pregnant, I also love that very much. It was so exciting and so new. And whenever my children ask me, how was it to be pregnant? Because they get to that age now that they wonder, how will I ever be able to give birth? And can I have children? And I'll need to ask mom about that. So they ask, and I say, mostly it was fantastic and magical. But didn't it hurt when I came out? Yes, of course it did, but that's just a tiny part of it.
Yeah.
And the experience of having something inside and just knowing that it's there, and just the anticipation and the waiting and the fantastic magic ball that we were carrying, the ball inside our belly. I miss it, but I wouldn't be it now. Be pregnant now. I'm too old for that, and my body is doing something else. But giving birth and midwifing, things like books for this on your side and art on my side, it's similar, because you wait and you know that there is something important inside, and just the energy of carrying it and nurturing it and loving it, of course, and then waiting for it to finally come through. So when you say you give birth to books like that, it feels like, whoa, too many. But I know the feeling when a painting comes through. It's like that took me half an hour. It looks like it could have taken 14 days. For other people, it would, that color should go there and that color should go there. But it's just a chaos, like a birth when I midwife my artist's creations. So slightly similar to what you were talking about, and the energy and the magic of it all. It's you have to be in the flow, so to speak. So joy is the word I feel now, and something new every time.
First of all, I would just want to mention I coach and mentor a lot of people, and someone is 70, someone is 80, someone is 20, so I have all this kind of, and the older ones said, oh, I'm getting old, so I cannot do it. And it's only 1 year between me and you, and we have birthday, we are both Scorpio, and even though I'm 1 year younger than you, I don't see myself as too old to have another child. So that was the realization when I went up hiking. That, wow, I still today could, even though I haven't asked my husband, and we are not planning to have a child, so it would be in another circumstances. But it's like, okay, if a new Homo Luminous wants to be born, of course I can be a surrogate. And what I want to, I think that if I was 60, just to put it out there, if I was 60 and I felt that my body was so much in health as it is, because it is, my body is almost like a 20 years, because I'm becoming Homo Luminous. So I have kind of birthed the new human. That's why I also coach parents and that to new Homo Luminous. So I know that my DNA have radically changed, and also to see this difference, because when I birthed the 5 children, I had not deprogrammed. I was in my program. So what I did, I unconsciously transferred my pattern to my children, as all of us does. And a lot of them were not the most healthy, even though health has been very significant. But the deepest trauma I still carried when deliver all of them. So, and I know that my DNA and my expression of the DNA is totally radically changed. So, and it's not that we need to be kind of Homo Luminous, to birth Homo Luminous. And in this conversation, I have another soul sister that also have birthed 5 children. And I have spoken about her before, because she actually died, delivered the 5th children, and the child was Homo Luminous, and the doctor said, wow, we don't understand why you survive, but she survived because her baby Homo Luminous healed her. So this is also, so we will learn so much from Homo Luminous. So it is, we are birthing the new, and we as parents, not all parents lives as Homo Luminous when we get Homo Luminous children, because it's several family now I follow, and I see that someone is now pregnant and are starting to change, and someone have already birthed Homo Luminous. So this is very interesting. And as I said when we started, it's like we talk about the feminine, presume the womb, creation, the start of everything, but we need the masculine. So we cannot birth alone, kind of.
No, we cannot. And also, to be is a masculine verb, and to feel is no. To do is masculine, and to be is feminine. So in birth, we are feminine, doing something, but it's not under our control. So we are. Then I feel like a birth is both a mixture. It's like a ball.
Yeah.
Of a mixture of the masculine and the feminine principles. And also, you talked about my painting that I only gave birth to yesterday, about that being something new. I have reluctantly started painting acrylics again after having a break for like 2 years from that and only doing watercolors. So that's something new. And it looks like it could have taken days to do it, but it took me 30 minutes, like a very speedy birth, so to speak. So if you are watching this and see something in there that I don't, because I get too close to my artwork, so I don't see what you see, for instance, Ann-Peggy. What did you see in that?
Well, I was like, wow, you have painted what I got, what we were talking about, because I see the womb, I see the creational where everything starts, and all this inside this circle, it is kind of the Homo Luminous. So I see the birth of the Homo Luminous in that, the start, when it all start, kind of this Homo Luminous birth, and I just come in here, and it's like we will talk about birthing the new, and the you have painted the birthing and the starting point, kind of, and we need kind of the fusion between the masculine and the feminine.
And if someone's listening to us now and don't know what Homo Luminous is, would you please explain that again? Because I also have some slightly wrong memories about what you said about that.
Okay, Homo Luminous, it is, most people speak about it as the new human. And the new human, it is when we carry more light. So I have gone to a deep detox, and my guys have said, well, we call it recalibration. So my DNA have recalibrated, and my DNA now have more light. So I'm more activated from the essence, from the light source of us. Because our DNA are like antenna. So, and we have for so many years lived with the DNA connected to our ancestor and the dense pattern. But now, when we live as Homo Luminous and the new human, we are more activated from the light, because our DNA is an antenna that gets signals from the light source of us. So we are becoming light beings. We have been to the darkest period ever on Earth. So now we are evolving. A lot of people are talking about this new shift that is happening, and the shift is going from Homo sapiens to Homo Luminous. So luminous is meaning light. So we are becoming more light, and that's why our multi-dimensional being, as me and you have talked about, we live this multi-dimensional field. We just birth, kind of.
Would you say that in the new age, like you're talking about the new times, would you say that we more or less like hook up with our light bodies in another way than we used to?
Yeah. And it is already here, because a lot of people have spoken about it will come in the future, it will come. It has already started. And when I had one of the ceremony, I birthed Homo Luminous, and Mother Gaia and the universe showed me that no, we have already started. This has already, but I felt it on my body, and it was showing me 3 waves of birth. And even though it started before 2024, so it's like Christ did it, a lot of other, and we can, now it comes to mind, Matthias De Stefano. A lot of people know Matthias De Stefano. He is like a wave, because he remember his essence. And more children like Matthias De Stefano is born, they remember, they are light being. So Matthias De Stefano, he is carrying the light. So he is a good example, and Sarah's child is a good example, and Dennis that I met in 2024 is a good example, and there are several children that are born with more light, and this is actually Christ consciousness. It is Christ energy, and it is not a religion. It is the womb. It is the 0 point where all light can kind of emanate. You know that you live on earth, but you are not from earth. We use and borrow this earthly body, but the essence of us are light.
So how, I'm curious here, because we haven't spoken very much yet, and we don't know everything about each other, which makes this very interesting for people to listen to as well.
Yeah.
And how did you know, and did you see, or did you just feel it, or do you know, like me, like just know that your DNA has changed? Because I also know mine isn't from Earth even. So how did you sense that and know that and see it or hear it, or what happened really?
It has come in several ways, and it the first time I kind of lived heaven on earth, it was for 2 days. I was like ecstatic, and then it was after 6 years in the darkness of the soul. So then it was the 31st of December in 2018 and the 1st of January 2019. Then it's like, wow, I'm in another realm. I live as in heaven. And what happened?
You raised your hand, Ann-Peggy. You have a question?
I didn't. I just did that, but that was kind of fun. Okay, but yeah. Anyhow, lower your hand, and then I started to live as Homo Luminous. It's like, but I didn't call it Homo Luminous, but so it kind of, I started to live in another way in 1st of January 2019, before COVID. So I had kind of gone through it before the others started with this, because this happened in a big scale in 2019, no 20, when the COVID came. But then I was guided into theology, to study theology, and I met a lot of priests and worked with priests and worked in congregation and learned a lot. But what happened then, the second day when I went into this field, I had parasite inside me. So the parasite started to evolve, and this is the parasitic consciousness. And the parasitic consciousness, it is kind of, it pushes you into emotion. It wants you to believe in doctrine, kind of, the old consciousness. So I didn't do so much about it, because it's kind of, okay, I went into this consciousness deliberately, and I connected to, a lot of saints also. But then it kind of started to, I became sick. So I went into hospital because I fainted and I had no contact with myself, and the parasite kind of blushed up. But the hospital said we don't understand anything, because they didn't understand that it was parasite. And I was busy studying a lot of exams and did the old consciousness. And then it was like, then I understood that it was parasite, and I went to see homeopathic medicine. But I knew what it was, and then I didn't do so much. So it's like, okay, I just hold them in check with what was it? I had herbs that I hold them in check. But then I did detox, or actually a fasting. Fasting isn't something for me, but I did it for, I think it was 3 days after a ceremony. It was like, the inspiration was to do fasting. And when I fasted, what happened? The parasite exploded, because I fasted and the system inside me stopped up. So I didn't sweat or I didn't poop, kind of. So the parasite kind of, boom, it's like I activated them. So I became really sick, and I fainted, and I lost control of myself. And then I asked my doctor what to do. Well, you have to go to hospital again. And I thought, no way. And then I said, help me. Okay, we will help you. And then I started to heal myself and radically heal myself. And I fainted into the light to make it, because this is it started in the beginning of April. I healed myself, and it was show me, I spoke with a parasite and I spoke with the old consciousness to understand what we have lived in, because even though it was Christianity, this could be politics, it could be the medical system, it could be all the system, because all of them, it is doctrine. So even though it was in the Christianity, all Christianity, it showed me that this is all the paradigm that we are programmed with. So when I radically heal, I surrendered to the light. And when I did it, it was like, okay, now I will die. So I went into an ego death. So the ego death, it was like, okay, maybe you should go to hospital because you are dying. But what died was the parasite. So the parasite died in me that night. And when the morning came, I thought, what really happened? Then the parasite was, so I had another ego death. I have gone through several. And the question about how do you know? Well, this showed me really the shift between the old, this parasite, because I have lived in parasite consciousness. All of us have done. We are the old way of being, the three-dimensional being. It is a parasitical and virus environment. So what we have lived through in hell, it is a parasitic consciousness. And now I do not live in the parasitic consciousness, I live in the light consciousness. And I see beauty everywhere. So you ask me, how did you know? I just know. And the last, when I had the parasite for 15 months, that was really showing me even better, because I had already become Homo Luminous, but I said yes to go into that because I wanted the old Christianity to upgrade. So I also upgraded, and I felt it on my body as I do when I heal people. And that was another experience and another layer of what I have experienced in other ways. So, and my intuition and how I function, suddenly I just know. I feel it with every bone, with every, so my DNA, and actually what happened then when I had this radical healing, my bone, my teeth, and all the bone structure is like, what is happening with my bone? It feels like you have to go to the dentist or something is happening with your bone. It's like, it is such a radical change in my bone structure, and I had never ever before felt this shift in my DNA, my bone. So I had felt the shift in my tissue, in my body, but never into the bone. So my bone structure, my DNA in the bone, and that's the inner, the most dense we have in our human body. It is the bone structure. So my bone structure radically changed from April until November this year. It was kind of wow. So if I give blood test or something now, and if we compare it to the old, it will radically show something different. But at the same time, as I say that, we don't have the instrument for the future medicine, but we are starting to make this new instrument that we see even more detail, because we will understand more from all these Homo Luminous that are born. The new children will show us the new scientist understanding of DNA, and that DNA also is an antenna that are kind of sensing our inner environment, our outer environment. It's sensing the light. It is an antenna.
But one question that roams through my mind is that our 5 children, I'm sure you are too, they're very curious and they're very up to speed with the times that we live in, and they also just know in a kind of different way from us, obviously, but they're very into tech and they're very into social media and they're very into being on a distance with people, and in a way they hook up with them and meet them, and it's all natural to meet like we do now. So whereas when we were young, we wouldn't never imagined speaking to another on the screen. but to them it's natural.
Yeah.
So it's something newborn. But also, I've spoken to many of my adult children, and they all agree that in order for something new to be born, something must go of the old. Have you also, like me, experienced that old people doing the doctrine in the old way, and the system is ruined in some ways and just withering away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing about that is that the most often part of this is sickness. So a lot of youth are sick. I have seen a documentary this weekend about a lady that have ME, CFS in English, I think. It's like fatigue. And she got it when she was 9 years, and you follow her from she was 9 till 18. And she have lying in bed for 9 years because she's fatigued. She have no energy. And the doctor and she have been to hospital, they don't understand anything about the ME and about why we are fatigued. And actually this documentary got me going on the new book that it's like the architecture of future medicine, because it's like, well, I need to write how we can see it differently. So and then after that I had the ceremony in the 3rd of January. It was a full moon ceremony, and it opened it like, and then the whole structure came, and it's like, so I just wrote it, and then the day after I just put it into form. So it goes very fast. And I started to say this because a lot of youth become sick, and if we just see the sickness as something we don't want, because she cried on television, she was so desperate, I have lied in bed for 9 years, my life is ruined. But if you understand that your sickness is really showing that you are living in environment, in systems that are the old, we feel our school system, we feel the kindergarten, we feel all our surroundings. And she had so much energy until she was 9 years, she was active, and then just everything collapsed. But the new children that are sick, they are actually showing us that we are living in fields that are unhealthy, that are sick. And I have also mentioned that I have a grown up girl that has a very significant or very hard sickness. She have gone through it for over a year. She have a tumor in her pituitary gland, and what has happened the 2 last year with her, she become 26 in this year, the radical change that she had been in for 2 years is like, wow. But it has been so hard, and from the doctor, it's like they don't know if she will live. I know that she will live, and I also know that she have a half year still to go through this pain. But it has been painful also for me as a mother, and I have cried with her, and I have just held her and said, just hang in there. The only thing you need is to hang in there, because the pain is kind of, she have lost herself, she have fainted, she's kind of, yeah. And I know that this deep pain that she has, it is an initiation, because the power in my daughter, it's wow. She was my wife when I was living as a shaman and a priest in the 1600, in the beginning of 1600 in Guatemala. And she had such a power. She was a powerhouse. She was the one that held, even though I was the shaman and priest holding the tribe, I had the masculine force, she had the feminine. And in that life I said that I want to live the same life as you do in this life. That's the life I'm living now. And she is now my daughter, and we meet again, but now as mother and daughter instead of husband and wife. And the power she have, and as you say, our children, they are more wise than us. Our children become wiser, because we as a species become wiser, and we evolve radically in this period, even more than before. So yes, I see it particularly in her, since two of my children I have more life with than the others. She is one of them, and also Alexander, who committed suicide. I have a lot of life with him. So I have had life with all of them, but two of them it's like we have a soul contract for a lot of years, so life. So yes, so back to your question about the children and what do I see in them.
That's great. And past lives, that's another discussion. I think we need another podcast for that. It's very interesting. I want to ask you a bit more about that painting back there because it's not finished. And I have had several suggestions from our children about what is going in the center of that. And so I'd like to ask you, what do you see in the center? What's missing in the center? What should be added more of?
What if I? It's like what I see when you ask me that. But first, that it was more glitter. Is it glitter in English? It's kind of sparkling. It's sparkling. It's like light sparkling. So I don't know if you use sparkling and this.
I use gold and I use white. So and I also got silver. So I can use a lot of, and I like to splash painting like it's drops and snow. So that's
So I see golden sparks. It's like golden glittering. Like I see outside, I see a lot of light, and it's like sparkling light. It's kind of because I see Homo Luminous, and it's even more sparkling in its kind of being birthed as we speak about this birth. So, but I don't know what your kids see.
Now, one of them said that there should be a boat in the middle of the painting, a magical ship or something like that.
Yeah, a magical. Yeah.
Said you should put a face in there, or you should put a sun in there. But it reminds me of the sunrise. One of them said so, but I'm not sure. I'm guided when I paint, so this is not coming from me composing anything or something like that. It's just me playing around with the colors and just taking whatever I'm told to do. So more like you hear things, I just know with letting my hands be guided and just do what feels right. So intuitive painting in that way. Yeah.
But when you speak about that, it's so fascinating because it's like I see this, and we are talking about the womb, the start of all creation. And in the start, everything, we can create everything. So we are talking about the womb, the void, the Big Bang, the creational, where it all comes from. So it's kind of the first spark. And from the first spark, we can create everything. So what your children said, what I say, and what if a lot of other people see it, we can create everything from this starting point. So that is what we can do on Mother Earth. This is kind of our playground, and we're talking now about the starting point of this playground. What do we want it to be?
Yeah, and to me, it's like it's always been. Time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist. I'm always saying to people when they need help from me or they ask me, can you please help me with that? And we're far away from each other. I say, just think about me and I'll be there. And so space and time, we're always connected in some way, knowing it or not. And so creating the new and being in the moment, that is what is more essential to me now than ever, because you can see the past, but the past is not here, and the future is not here either. And I remember us speaking in a Zoom call in a group we had on Facebook, you and I,
yep,
and some other people about the plasma.
Yep.
And also, I feel like I'm tugging the ends of the plasma in some ways and just pulling whatever answers needs to come through and just splash them onto the canvas. That's what I do with everything I so-called create. I just feel I'm not here even. I'm just a vessel for whatever wants to come through to help the world be birthed again, so to speak, to make a mark about what we're talking about today. So my art is it's finally time for my art now. It's been misunderstood for years, and even in my family, it's been like, when is it going to happen, Mom? When are people going to see what you actually are painting. I don't understand what you're painting, but someone will. And I feel now it's a way of doing things and being things in a different way, like being more light than we have
Yeah.
ages, and doing more light and sharing more light. So it all comes together in a harmony in my heart. That's what I feel. So the new is definitely now.
Yeah, and when you say that, I think I will give 2 or 3 minutes to just read some sentence from this architecture of future medicine that I just have bought, and it builds on coherence medicine, because coherence, it is the future medicine. Then when we are in resonance, coherence medicine, we can call it also regulative medicine, and synchronized resonance medicine. And the architecture of future medicine, coherence medicine, the regulation of biological intelligence. And just the architecture of future medicine invites a shift, not only to understand, not only in understanding, but in orientation. A shift from viewing the body as a collection of parts to recognizing it as a living, coherent system in continuous relationship with its environment. A shift from control to listening, from intervention as the primary response to regulation and coherence as the fundamental condition for healing. This is the foundation of what this book refers to as coherence medicine. And the book builds on a new way of seeing medicine, and I introduced the 13 field matrices. So it is kind of from 12 flow streams, if you see the Chinese medicine that were into duality. So it's from the 12 flow streams to 13 field matrices. And I want to read a paragraph from this. There was a time when the human being experienced the body as flow, not as structure, not as separate parts, but as living movements of life force traveling through breath, tissue, blood, and awareness. This knowing has never disappeared. It lives on in the ancient systems, in the meridians, in the movement of prana, in the dance of yin and yang, endlessly seeking balance. The 12 flow streams were never meant to be mechanical lines inside the body. They were living pathways of intelligence. They mapped movement, not totality. The early physicians, healers, and seers understood that life moves in rhythm. They observe how energy rises and falls with the sun, how organs respond to the seasons, how emotions, climate, and relationships alter the inner current of the body. Their knowledge was precise, and it did not arise from diagnosis or analysis. It arose from listening. The 12 meridians became a language for this listening. They described how life force circulated between yin and yang, between inner and outer, between form and function. And just to end it, coherence medicine is an understanding of health in which regulation, rhythm, and relationship are recognized as biological intelligence, and healing is not forced but allowed to emerge. It is a lot of side, but I talk a lot about mitochondria and the nervous system. I go very deep in the nervous system, and the mitochondria and the DNA and the form before DNA. And I actually introduced 2 new systems. And one of the system, it is so obvious to us, and I will not speak about it now, because I will talk about it when this book is in form. But 2 of the system, it is like these 2 new system we will use in future medicine. And one of the system has to do with the 13 matrix, and another system is so obvious, but we have forgotten one of the most. It is so close to us that we have forgotten it. But I will speak about it when the book is kind of finished. But it is so interesting when you open up to this room and it kind of birth new reality. And I have said yes to become Homo Luminous, and we birth new reality, and what comes true, it's astonishing. It's like, wow. So since I have become Homo Luminous, that's why I can birth future medicine and birth the architecture of future medicine, because I myself have become it. So we know this wording that become the change you want to see in the world. So I have become Homo Luminous, and since I have become it, that's why I can birth it. If I was in the old paradigm, I could not have done what I did. I birthed the Health Bible, and that was a hard birth. I used 6 years, and it was because I wanted to do it in the old way. I had so many references because, well, I need to be kind of all have to see that this is correct done. But when you just surrender, and then when it comes true, you like a gift that's unfolding itself. It's like, wow. So future medicine is light. We will understand light in a radical new way, because light just emanate and unfold. So yeah, it is. We are living in the golden age. We are going into the golden age.
Definitely some gold is going into that painting. There already is some gold, but you can't see it very well in this lighting. I'm sorry. But your book sounds very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it. That's great.
Yeah, it's both in Norwegian and English, and I know just have to get it out, because yeah, I was planning to get the Health Bible out first. That was from my old thinking. But then, because I didn't plan none of this book, and this is also the new. It's just come true us. I didn't plan to reveal the new cosmology through human being and not the medicine. I was thinking about writing a book about becoming Homo Luminous, and I will do, but I haven't started it, and this two come first. It's like, what? So to let the heart guide us. So this is the new. The heart is guiding us, and it just come through the heart. As you say, when you just paint, you are just in the flow. You lose time and space. You're just like, wow, this book wanted to come, and this, so in you, this painting. So we brought new realities into life. It is fascinating. So this is what we are all invited into, even as men. If we just yeah, the void, this I also, when coaching a lot of people, it's like, I feel that I am in the void, and some of us do not want to be in the void because it is unfamiliar, and it can feel like, oh, I don't want to be here. There is nothing here, kind of. And I have been in the void several times when I was in my transformation. It's like, in the beginning, I didn't like the void myself either, because it is unfamiliar. What should I do in this void? And it was, but no, I love the void, because it is through the void. It's kind of just when we are the void, if we just kind of with our conscious mind connect to our heart, then the spark come by itself, kind of.
Yes.
So do not be afraid of the void. We birth children from the void.
I love being in the void, and when I paint, like you say, it's just like touching a curtain or something, and it goes. It feels like it's some kind of here. When I paint, it's like a curtain that I look through, and when I'm not in the void, not painting, I'm just touching it. So on the other side, they can just work for me and just pull me in when they want to. So I don't meditate. For me, meditation it was a tool at some point, but not now, because whenever I touch my pens or my markers or my painting, it pulls me in. So the thought goes nowhere, and then nothing really worked for me. So I don't work anymore. I just play around with it. So yeah, I love the void.
Yeah, and I love the wording you say. I don't work anymore. I just You are kind of the void. And I tried, my path has been understanding my hands, because I heal. People came to me, they wanted healing, and I wanted to give them therapy because I was a good therapist, kind of. But they wanted healing. It's like, well, but I'm a good therapist, and I wanted to understand the force that came through me, just being me. So that was kind of my path. So I'm just holding the womb. So when we hold the womb, you do it through painting, I do it, people that come to me, it's like I hold the space, and from this space, they feel everything. They come to their womb, and from this womb, you can feel everything. So it is the starting point, and the shadow side can come up, because this is sometimes the hardest for some, that the shadow side, we want them up, so that we can balance out, so that we can live from the womb 24/7. So
yeah, and like when I paint also, you see there's dark and there's light. Without contrasts you can't have any art, so, or any perspective, so you need both to see the stars. You need the darkness.
Yeah. So, and also I heard someone saying that actually when we are in pain, that's why we evolve the most. So actually a person that is in pain all its life, it's evolved the most. But I think that is not the exact truth, because if you are in resistance to the pain, you will kind of stand there. Because I was in my life in resistance to some of the pain, until I learned to surrender, and also that the pain was a signal that the life was speaking to me. Pain was speaking to me.
And also, I've seen pain like a signal that you have resistance towards the moment you're in, and you have created something with your mind that you as a soul don't want. So it's basically you speaking to yourself in a painful way. So it's very symbolic, and it's very interesting. And of course, we don't want pain, but when we create it, because we create it by ourselves, then we should also listen to ourselves, because we, as people come to you for healing, what you basically do is you shine their light back at them and make them able to see what they have done with themselves. So I'm also a healer, but I don't do it like you do, of course. I just ask the right questions and push the right buttons, and then turn them towards themselves. And that may also be painful, verbally or emotionally, but not physically, because I just ask, what have you been thinking? What have you been doing that is against yourself and against your path? So, and also because I learned that on my path, that whenever I go against my soul or my body, of course it hurts, but you don't always understand it up here. You just need to let go of that and just drop into your heart. Like, the heart is very important, and it's the only guide we should ever listen to. And also the connection with other souls on earth, and how we can be present for each other and be connected through the plasma.
Yeah, and the plasma also is in the book. But when you talk about creation, and yes, we create our own life, and we create sickness, not consciously but unconsciously. And I will give an example, because it is a good example. My son had cancer. As a 3 years old, he had liver cancer. And in this period, we lived with another family that also have a baby that had cancer. He had a brain cancer, and he was born with brain cancer. So he was born with brain cancer, because we say that every soul is birthed kind of fresh, and no sickness, but he was birthed with cancer. And if we understand that when we have delivered a child, if the mother or the father is sick, the surroundings is sick, so the child becomes an expression, or kind of, it is holding an aspect of the mother and the father, not to show them something awful, but if there are ancestor pattern or anything, it will kind of be revealed. So this child lived for 18 months, so it became 1.5 years, and then it died. And this was a crisis in this family, of course. And this is 30 years ago. So it's 30 years ago. But if they had understood this time that, okay, our child was birthed with a brain tumor, this is showing us something. This is showing us pattern in ourselves. He tried to awaken us because this child took on a hard task. Even though I don't know if he was he didn't feel so much pain, even though he had cancer. So he was in chemotherapy like my son. But he lived for 1.5 years. And actually what he said yes to was to raise consciousness of his parents. So they could look their pattern and all that is in their surroundings. So a lot of children have said yes to become into physical form to wake us up. My children have waken me up. My first son had cancer, and I didn't know. I was so afraid when he had cancer, and I said to the doctor, "You do what you could," because I was kind of a hysterical mom because he had cancer, and he said we don't know if he will survive, and he was in chemo, and they did a lot of things that was not good, and I have learned so much through him, and he is the one who commits suicide because his health has been. He have had a lot of health issue, and his biological father was from Greenland, and in Greenland they have a lot of violence energy, abuse energy. So his biological father was traumatized. He had a lot of trauma. So I experienced living with a man with trauma, and I tried to save him. But so after we had 2 children, I just needed to save myself, the 2 children that we got. So when our second boy was a couple of months, I needed to move for myself and said, well, I just have to take care of me and the boys because I couldn't save him, even though I tried. And I hadn't gone in. I didn't know that it was so much trauma in him. I met him when I was 16, fell in love, and you know the way it goes. So I had 2 kids with him, and the 3 other is with my husband today. So, but I have learned so much to my 5 kids. 2 of them have been much more sick than the other 3, and it is because the ancestral from their father actually had more dense energy. It's not to judge or anything, but this is also the creation. Someone wants to experience this and evolve from this. And the 2 first boys, they wanted to live through this. So, and it gives us different fundamentals because we have a soul plan also. So, yeah, I wasn't supposed to tell this, but it is also important in the creational soup to, okay, what is in our ancestral line? But now we are in the shadowing of, because we, as Homo Luminous, we don't need to go through it. We have gone through it. So we are now into a new era where we don't need to go that deep. So we are actually, it's showing as a field of grace. We, as a human species, are giving a field of grace because we don't need to go to the old again. But I said yes to go through it so I can kind of explain it, because I have been in the old and have gone through the birth of become Homo Luminous, and I can explain the shift from a medicine way. Yeah, kind of what is happening to us.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all this today. And thank you for talking about art and giving birth to the new. I feel I want to go paint some more now.
Yeah, and it has come to the end of this podcast. Is it something more you want to say about birthing? And
it was all very fun, and it is fun doing new things like giving birth to. Oh, sorry, what's that? It was all very fun, and giving birth and painting new things and doing new things all the time. That's very, very, very much fun. So let's do that and just keep being in the moment and give a feel of grace. I love that, and I got very much inspiration from what you were talking about, and pick out some words and some definitions and some sayings and quotes, and then I want to put them onto new canvases. So this is very inspirational meeting you, Ann-Peggy.
Thank you, Siri. And if this is finished until we publish this, I will put it kind of the how this will transform into a new phase or new expression. What if you are kind of inspired, and then it's like, yeah.
With the painting, you mean?
Yeah,
that's okay. That's good. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Siri, for this unfolding of the birth of the newness.
Thank you, Ann-Peggy. Bless you.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another heaven on earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.